Brooks Kirk, and this is my second podcast. Main topic of this podcast will be over the new movie It, and I have here with me Nicholas. Is that Nicholas or Nick? No, it's Nick. Just Nick. Okay, sorry.
Nick.
Tried going full name, failed. My bad. I got Nick Estachio here. Say hi, Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Okay, very funny. And I got Cristobal Chavez, who pretty much runs our YouTube channel, Paradox Cinephiles. Say hi, Chris.
What's up?
All right, so first topic, It of 2017, and how well does the 1990 miniseries hold up? All right, guys. So what do we think of the new movie?
I was a big fan of the new movie, for sure. I think that unlike the older miniseries, it actually was kind of scary, which is something that the old one lacked, because it might have been a bit creepy or whatever.
Have you watched the old one?
I've seen parts of it. I haven't seen the whole thing.
Because I know earlier today you told me that you hadn't watched it,
Yeah.
and now you're talking. Just then you're talking about as if you'd watched it. I was like, holy shit, you watch it in the last few hours?
I wish, but no, it's I mean, I've seen like parts of it, and I don't know. He doesn't like the clown himself. Doesn't really seem that scary. He's
Tim
more
Curry's
just kind of.
Pennywise,
Yeah, he's more just kind of like present and like
Yeah.
always following him around, like letting him know he's there. And this other one's like turning into their like greatest fears in front of them. So
Yeah, and like it's really silly in the miniseries, like because I mean they kept it a little too close to the book, and that didn't really work in their favor with the whole like when he attacks Ritchie, played by Seth MacFarlane in the miniseries, and he attacks him in like one of the basements of the school, and he's like the Wolfman because they just saw the Wolfman movie, and it's really that scene's like not scary at all. Like maybe if you were 5, but like that scene, like after he pulls away and runs off, turns back at Pennywise, just like and that's not scary.
is Richie the fat kid?
No, Ritchie. That's Ben. Ritchie is Ritchie was a loud kid.
Oh, the one with the glasses.
Yes.
He's kind of a tool. Made all the penis jokes
Yes,
in the new one.
In the new one, and
All
he was played by Seth. Not Seth MacFarlane. I said Seth MacFarlane, didn't I?
Yeah.
He was played by Seth Green in the 1990
I was gonna
miniseries.
say, how was Seth MacFarlane the kid in that movie?
No. He was played by Seth Green, and Seth Green for back then did a pretty decent job. But yeah, the new movie, like this is. People tend to forget that the 1990 version is a miniseries. It was released on TV. It's not a movie per se. It didn't have the same kind of budget a movie would have. It was really like a low budget TV kind of thing, which is why the effects were kind of shitty. They're really the only thing kind of good and memorable about it is Tim Curry's Pennywise, because he was, even if he wasn't scary for you, he was at least entertaining.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it, but like...
To be fair, it was also the early 90s.
It is. It was,
so, I mean, CGI has come a long way since then, which definitely helps the clown.
I believe CGI wasn't even... it still wasn't even a thing at the time, because this was 1990, and a lot of the stuff was used with stop motion... What's it called? Stop motion effects?
Stuff like that, yeah.
Stop motion puppets.
Yeah, especially the spider at the end. That's incredibly cheesy today. But I could see why a 5-year-old back then would be like terrified for years or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, like, we're used to the scarier CGI monsters and stuff.
Yeah.
When back then they had rubber suits for everything. So it's, we have more context to make it seem more cheesy also.
And so, this isn't really a remake that some people tend to think it is. Mm-hmm. It's not. It's just a different kind of adaptation from the book. And it's the first official movie adaptation when you think about it.
Yeah.
And it's the first one to go on the big screen and be a theatrical release, and it is huge. And it's doing well. It's got like 86% of Rotten Tomatoes. It's making a shit ton of money.
Yeah, I know it had 100% for like the first 2 or 3 days when it was released.
Yeah, and then more critics saw it, but like still 86%. That's high.
Oh yeah,
it's
that's
like
really
super
good.
fresh. It's really good.
Yeah.
So, Chris, like we haven't heard you say much yet. What are your thoughts on the new movie?
Well, the movie's great. Just to kind of compare, I guess, Pennywise's, it really just, to me, it's not, it doesn't really hold up as well, but then again, it just depends on your fear, I guess. I have a younger sister, who's deathly afraid of clowns, and she thinks that the Tim Curry Pennywise is way scarier than the Bill Skarsgård Pennywise.
Really?
Yeah, and because, again, this is just your opinion on your fears or just whatever.
Is it because he actually seems more like a real life clown?
Yeah, it's probably the reason. He's mainly a lot of white face makeup, which is the big red nose. It's not a painted on nose. It's an actual big red nose that's attached, and you got the colors. For her, clowns are more scarier when they're fully make-upped with vibrant colors and exaggerated features. And of course, the new Pennywise is very darker and more dimmer. Yes, he's fully make-upped, but
his suit is mainly just white.
Yeah. And he has makeup over his eyes, even if it's just that little red stripe. But it's not as creepy to her, and of course he doesn't have a big red nose, he just has a painted on nose. But then that's just her opinion. Other people who have a fear of clowns probably think both of them are equally as scary or something.
Or Skarsgård's more scary, which I think is the case.
Yeah. So
Skarsgård scared the living shit out of me when I first saw this movie, and I saw this movie in IMAX my first viewing, in which apparently if you've haven't seen the movie yet, and you're trying to go, and you're like, oh shit, it was in IMAX. Well, I'm sorry, but if you wanted to go see an IMAX upon hearing this, you kind of missed out because it's not an IMAX anymore because Kingsman 2 has come out. So, but if you did get to see an IMAX, I'm sure you got a great experience because that's what I got. The movie scared the living shit out of me in IMAX because everything was bigger and louder, and the floor literally fucking vibrated at one point in the beginning of the movie. It freaked me out, and I think Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise is the best thing about this movie. It's one of the best things about this movie, and it really makes the movie work. And I feel like no one could have done it better than he did. And so Haley finally saw it with me, and then I asked her about what you think of Pennywise, Bill Skarsgård's the clown Pennywise, and what you think of it. And she said, all she had to say was creepy and annoying, and she wouldn't. And I asked her, did you find him entertaining at all? Even a little bit? And she was like, no, just creepy and annoying. And I was like, oh, come on. He was kind of funny at that one part. And she was like,
what did she think about it overall?
She, it's not she didn't hate it at all. Basically, it's not her cup of tea, but she liked it for what it was. And a lot of the humor made her laugh.
Okay.
And she understands the overall message the movie is trying to portray. Overcome your fears through the help of your friends, support. Band together, power, friendship, and love can overcome evil. Stuff like that. She likes that message and thinks the movie kind of really portrays that really well. Just the overall the context of the movie and the details and stuff. It's really just not her kind of movie, and it's not a movie she'll watch again anytime soon. But she mainly went to go see it because I really wanted her to see it. So she finally accepted.
It's nice of her.
Yeah, she felt like she was telling me she was just trying to do something nice for me.
Yeah.
And anyways, but yeah, overall she generally liked it. I guess I can say.
Yeah.
There were things she did not like. Things that it's not that she disagrees that it shouldn't have been in the movie. It's more that stuff just really bothers her a lot.
So you were worried about the scene at the very beginning with Georgie and how she would take that. How did that go?
I didn't get a chance to ask her because there's only so many questions I'm allowed to ask her after we see a movie because she needs time to process the movie. And
Do you actually have a number limit?
No, not really, but it depends on her mood. And I told her, after I asked her a few questions, I told her I could tell she was getting annoyed, and she made it clear. So I told her I'd give her a week.
Gotcha.
I said next Saturday I'm gonna bug you with a lot more questions, and those questions will involve what did you think of Georgie's death? What did you think of the deadlights? Do you understand what it is at all? There's so many other questions I want to ask her, but she will only she doesn't want me to. She just after watching a movie, she just needs time to process the movie. She can't just go into talking about it. That's just not who she is.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And there's and with this movie, I'm giving her a week because there's just a whole lot to process. Even though there's probably a whole lot she missed on her first viewing, she did catch the thing in the background with the TV saying, "Let's go all the way play in the sewer." She did catch. Yeah,
well, she is a teacher, so she'd pay attention to the children's program.
Yeah,
right?
she did. She did pay attention to that, and she kind of. And when I heard it, she kind of like. I saw her head. Her peripherals. I thought I saw her turning towards me, and I was like, "Oh, did you hear it?" She's like. And I was like, all right, good. She just nodded at me, and I was like, all right, good.
I love that detail in the movie.
It is,
That's
yeah. I don't
stuff.
think she noticed the librarian turning and looking at him creepy. I didn't want to say anything.
Well, I realized that's actually a different woman than the librarian, because the librarian's over on the right.
I guess I never told you this. I noticed that
it's just some like creepy grandma.
Upon my second viewing, and you told me about it, I was like, oh, it's not the librarian, it's a different woman. But I never told you that.
Yeah,
and it is 3 frames after seeing it.
Is it 3 frames?
The first frame, she turns to him, and then it shows her again in 2 more frames.
That's because it keeps going through the pictures, it keeds showing. But then, like when the balloon goes by, she's all like normal again. She's normal again, yeah. And but yeah, it is technically 3 frames. I must have miscounted or whatever. I don't know. She appreciated it for what not even appreciate. She kind of liked it for what it was. So, she kind of gets what it's trying to be, and she thought it did it really well. And but it's not her cup of tea. It's not a movie like. Did it scare her a bunch, or?
Some scenes were a little much for her, but she never like jumped or was. If anything, if she didn't do what Kenzie does. She wasn't like, oh.
Yeah. My girlfriend watched the whole thing through her hands.
If anything,
it's kind of pitiful. But
if anything, like she would like do a thing where she would like maybe look away, but if she did it in a way where I wouldn't notice it too much, or if it was something she just couldn't handle, she'd probably just look away from it. But like for the most part, she was watching a lot of stuff. Like I know with the projection scenes, she kept her eye on the screen.
Good for her. Yeah, that one.
It still bugged her and she disturbed her, but she was like, there was some like at one part whenever it comes at Billy in the basement, he does this whole spasm run attack, and just comes right at him. She looked at me and was like, "That's a little too much," and I was like, "Girl, you ain't seen nothing yet." And she was like, "Oh," and then the projection scene, I thought about being like, brace yourself, but I didn't even do that. I'm just gonna let it happen.
Ice water in the veins.
I didn't get to ask her about that scene either, because there's just so much movie to ask her. So I swear, like, I'm gonna have a list of questions to ask. I'm gonna have a literal list in front of me, like, okay, what'd you think of this? What'd you think of that for next Saturday?
Catch her in a good mood.
Yeah. But no, she liked it. I guess,
Good.
It's just a movie she's not going to watch over and over again like I do. She may watch it like 2 more times in her whole life, because one, she'll probably watch it again when the new one comes out, just to like familiarize herself if she wants to go see the new one, which I'm sure she will because she wants to listen. And then she'll watch it again whenever like we have a It movie night in the future.
Gotcha.
With my kids and everything. All right, watching it.
You're like 6-year-old children who are terrified. Yeah, that'll be great.
We're watching the new one.
Don't go near the sewer drain.
Don't go near the sewer drain.
So hey, this is what happens if you play in the street in the rain, kids. I told you not to.
Yeah.
It's lesson time with Uncle Brooks.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Jimmy, you want to go play in that sewer drain now? No. That's what I thought.
That's what I thought, Jimmy.
Oh man, no. You know what's weird? It's like the movie's been on my mind so much to the point to where like last week, I took. Yeah, but technically it's last week now. Earlier this week, I went to over to my sister's to see my nephew, and my nephew wanted to go. My nephew's like 4, and he wanted to go outside because it was raining, and he wanted to go out and be in the rain because he hardly gets to experience it. And so I told him I would go out there with him, and. Then he went back inside. He needed to get his shoes on, and then that way we were able to walk around more. And she lives in some apartments right down 19th Street in the neighborhood. And there's this backyard area in between the apartments, in between like the yards and fences. And it's actually a really beautiful grassy area. Like no weeds, no flowers, just plain, beautiful, well taken care of grass. And nothing but some nice fences and some pretty decent apartments just like in the area, and it's like a nice area for kids to play in, I guess. And we're back there, and we can hear like thunder in the distance, and he was being funny, and he was like, oh, like I'm listening for the thunder. And he was like, I'm going to call it, or whatever. He's like, I'm going to call the thunder so I can hear it. And I thought that was hilarious. But anyways, I had a few, as I was back there with them, I was thinking, like, it was a cloudy day, it was raining and everything, and I was like, it wasn't raining that hard, but I was thinking to myself, oh my god, like, what if, like, it just came out the corner and was like, and I was like, oh god, no. You know, and it really, like, for a moment there with him, I really, like, was like, oh my god, why is this all of a sudden, like, it's kind of feasible. It's like, it feels like it can happen. And what really freaks me out was on the way to the theater tonight, we were just turning off the 34th on the access road to get on the highway to get to the theater, and there on the corner, like, there was a bunch of balloons tied to something, and they're just there, and one of them was red, and when I saw, knowing we were going to see it, I saw the balloons, and I was like, God! I was like, balloons! Pennywise, he's near! I don't know why, the balloons just kind of startled me. I was like, oh god.
Be careful, Brooks, he can smell your fear.
Oh, the same thing happened to you, didn't it? Similar thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and tell them about it.
Well, you know, I went to go see it at Alamo Drafthouse, and usually at the Alamo Drafthouse, they, when a new movie comes out, they do, like, you know, special events for it. A lot of people dress up, they decorate the stuff, and I guess they were giving out balloons for, I guess, the first few shows. And I went and saw mine. Mine was the later showing, because that's the only one I could make it to. So after I saw it, I was walking out, and, you know, when you walk through a parking lot, you have parking lights that are very, you know, spread apart. They're not close together, and there's nothing around, just those parking lights. And as I was walking out, I looked up, and sure enough, there's a red balloon tied to a parking light. And I got it on video, and was like, what the hell's going on? Because it was like, somebody would have had to climb, which is this very tall parking light pole, to have put it on there.
Wasn't it like 30 feet tall or something?
Yeah, it's tall. And the fact that, like I said, there's no trees or there's nothing to where it's like the balloon, if somebody let go of the balloon, it would bounce off this wall and bounce off that wall and just attach to that light pole. It was just a single light pole, and then maybe like 25 feet later there's another light pole. And it so happens that got tied to that pole.
What do you want to bet the movie theater staff or whatever got a big old ladder and tied it up there just to creep people out once they saw the movie?
I don't know, man. That's really interesting, but, like, I wouldn't put it past. I wouldn't, like, rule that out.
Yeah.
It's the hype train, man.
I remember when you posted that, I commented saying Pennywise is watching you.
For reals.
Yeah. I was literally like, the first time I saw it, I could not sleep all night after seeing it because I was so terrified.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I came to visit you and you were just like, man, I ain't gonna sleep at all. I'm gonna have the nightmares.
Yeah, I ain't gonna sleep at all. And I was just like, I looked back there to my bedroom and I was like, I could just picture him just like peering out. No! You know, and, but... Yeah, the new movie, it has amazing character dynamics, character arcs, themes.
So how do you think the kids compare to the kids in the older one? Because that's something I don't really know about.
Okay,
much.
The kids in the old miniseries, they're not bad. They're not bad, and there are, like, people like them more than they like the adult counterparts, apparently.
Okay.
And I think in general, people like the kid part of the story in the miniseries rather than they like the adult part of the story, because to a lot of people, the adult part of the story is worse. It's just not as well done, or it's not even scary. It's more silly and stupid and full of stupid montages, and the kids' stuff is captures more of the essence of the book, apparently. I don't know.
Because I know
they're not bad.
In the new one, the child actors were all super good.
They were.
They were all really impressive.
The old one, it's they're not bad, but they're not like great compared to the new kids. The new kids kill it. Their performances were amazing. Their performances, and one, like, the movie relies on their performances. Like, if their performances are not good, the movie's not going to be good.
I mean, at least in like the other one for the series, it's like split half.
It's split half between.
Half. So I mean, at least one half.
So the thing is that the kids in the first half, they only had to carry that first half of the miniseries. And then the adults had to pick up the slack, and they didn't really do a good job of that. But in this one, the kids, all the weight was on the kids. Like, it was really important that the kids be likable, enjoyable, funny, and it was important that they would all be different from each other. Some people don't. It's already been kind of voiced that some people don't really care for Stan's character, who is the Jewish kid with curly hair who fears the deformed woman.
Why not? What's wrong with him?
Okay, the thing is,
because he's Jewish?
No, it's not that. Cool. Some people thought he didn't get a proper amount of focus like the other characters did. Him and Mike both. Here's the thing. One, you got 7 fucking kids to focus on.
Yeah, that's a lot of...
It's a lot.
You have to really focus on, like, 3 or 4 characters.
Given what people know about Stan's character later on in the series, he got a good amount. He got a fine amount of focus, and he was done really well. And I think people need to lay off of this actor, because this one, if you don't agree that he was written well enough, guess what? That's not his fault. 2, he played the part just fine. I really like his character. I like the way this kid played Stan. Stan, I love all the kids, just saying out there, but like Stan is not at the bottom of the list. If anything, it's probably Mike, just because Mike, it gets the least amount of focus. But I still like Mike a lot.
Which one's Mike?
Mike's the black kid.
The black kid?
Yeah. The black kid who like works on a farm or something.
Yeah.
But Stan, I for some reason like Stan a lot. And here's another reason why Stan is likable. Stan has played the child version of Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy. In the opening part of part of Guardians of the Galaxy, the kid that's playing the 8-year-old version of Star-Lord, that is the same actor playing Stan in It. And
so, basically, as far as I know, like, all of those kids have had previous roles.
They have.
The only ones I'm not sure about is Ben, right, the chubby kid?
He's had previous work, I just don't know what. Oh, okay. Wait, no, he was also in an MCU movie. He played a bully in Ant-Man, apparently, but I can't remember the scene that he's in.
Oh, okay. I've seen Ant-Man, but I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
And then the girl, I don't know if she's been in anything. I mean...
I don't either. A funny thing about the girl,
she's a female actor.
Yeah.
For one, she's probably older than the character she plays in the book. Also, she could have easily had like a different hair color or something like that.
I believe her hair is naturally short and red.
Okay.
And I believe that whenever they had trouble casting her into the movie because the studio executives thought she looked too boyish.
Okay.
Like she was way too tomboyish for the character, even though that kind of fits the character. They thought like she needs to look more girly.
Gotcha.
And so they gave her extensions, put her in a dress, and they brought her back for another audition, and then she was cast into the role. But then the director decided to stick it to the studio, and they gave her extensions, but they had her cut her extensions and go back to her having short hair and being more tomboyish. So it was like they all thought it was kind of funny because she was already cast, it was already official, and it was their way of being like, screw you, studio, we're gonna do what we want. That's kind of the gist I got of that story, and plus, like, girls cutting their hair in movies, it really, for the most part, works every time.
It's a really, like, hardcore thing, especially for, like, girls watching the movie, because, I mean, most girls I know, when they get their hair cut, they cry. I mean, it's like a big deal. Your hair is like a big part of like a girl's identity for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, for guys too, but especially for girls, since they tend to put a lot more work into it than guys do.
Yeah.
So
and whenever a girl like cuts her hair like for reasons to like she just wants, usually it's because she has so much crap she worries about. She needs one less thing to worry about.
It's almost always like a symbol of like trying to attain some sort of freedom from something that's been holding them back.
Yeah, it's always symbolic, and it's also like one less thing to worry about because like let's face it, shorter hair is easier to manage.
Yeah.
And it really is funny because this movie is set at the end of the 80s, and she does look like a really young Molly Ringwald.
Yeah.
And I love how that joke is put in later by Ritchie. Who invited Molly Ringwald to the group? She just gave him the finger.
Yeah.
That was great.
So, which kid is your favorite?
My absolute favorite.
Yeah, like for you guys, which kid do you like best in this one?
Oh,
It's definitely
Like, how about
Ritchie.
the old one or the new one? We'll say that.
Old one, I'm not really sure.
Oh, God. If you're talking about the old one, I guess Bill, because Bill is like pretty take action.
Does he get the most screen time and stuff too?
I guess so, because of his brother Georgie. Bill in the old one, I guess, is the best because he really more so established himself as a leader of the group more so than this Bill did in the new one. Now, not to take anything away from this Bill in the new one, like this Bill did a good job too. But the guy that is one thing I would give to the older kid. He actually, the older version, 1990 version of Billy, kid version. He actually, and that actor is dead now, unfortunately.
Wow.
He actually did a better job establishing himself as the leader of the group, and whenever all was said and whenever they defeated it, he tried to not stop it from retreating, and he said, we need to go after him, we need to finish him off. They said, it's over, Bill, it's over. He goes, no, we got to make sure. And then when they left the sewers, he automatically said, okay, swear to me if it comes back. Like he said to everyone, I want all of you to swear to me that we will come back and finish this if it's not over. And he just further established himself and was more, because he was stuttering too and very timid in the beginning, and then sure enough, like he grew, his character grew strong towards the end of their fight against it as kids.
Right.
Stronger than what Bill seemed to have in the new one.
So for the old one, you'd say your favorite is Bill because he has some good character development. And
Yeah.
then for the
And
new
for
one,
the new
who's
one,
your favorite?
it's give me a second. I love Ritchie a lot, but he's not my favorite. Honestly, it's Eddie. Eddie is my favorite.
Is that the one who's terrified of sickness?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know his full name, but I know the actor who plays him. His name is Jack. This kid, something about him I really like. I think he has an amazing face for acting. Like his facial expressions are always on point. I liked the way he looked whenever he was like looking at something in awe or in fear or whatever. Like it just looked great. Everything about his facial expression was just on point, and I thought he was actually more funny than people gave him credit for.
I love the part where he's like, you see these? They're bullshit.
Yeah.
They're gazebos.
They're gazebos. And that was an actual, like, he was supposed to say placebos, but he said gazebos just because he was that into the character. Well, he was just that into it, and he actually said gazebos, and they just went with it. They loved it. They loved it, and they just went with that take. And I liked him a lot with this one-on-one scene with Pennywise when his arm was broken and Pennywise was trying to torment him.
Oh yeah.
And I liked it whenever they were right after Pennywise retreated. They're like, I'm gonna reset your arm. And he's like, don't you fucking touch me! No! He's like, his expressions and his acting was really, it was just great. I loved it, and I liked how he got further. He got to add a little bit more to his character appearance with the cast towards the end, with the cast on his arm by the end of the movie, especially how that girl signed loser on it, and he changed the S to a red V, making it lover. Yeah, which I really liked.
I thought that was pretty good.
And I liked how he stood up to it at the end. Like, it just pretty much vomits a whole bunch of crap on him, and he's just like, I'm gonna fucking kill him. He kicks in the face. Oh, I loved it. And I think he's my favorite. I love them all. And a very fond second, if I need to name a second, a very fond second is Ben. Yeah. Ben, the chubby kid who the bullies refer to as Tits.
That dude's tough.
He gets the
crap beat out of him.
He is the heart of the group. He took the most hits throughout the movie. He got clawed up by it in their
He's
first
leaking
fight.
hamburger helper over here.
and the bullies like literally cut into his belly a little bit. Yeah. And he took the most hits. He got beaten the shit out of by the bullies too. Like Bauer just clocked him. And I like that effect they did where his ears are ringing and he couldn't hear anything for a second. I love that effect. he's tougher than they give him credit for. He's the heart of the group. He saved their asses in the garage. He threw the fucking door open and saved Beverly again by bringing her out of the comatose state she experienced when she saw the deadlights, and with true love's kiss, which is cliche but well done. I love it. And he, whenever Stan was attacked by it and almost had his face eaten off, and they scared it off by finally coming to his aid, and Stan freaked out and was like, you guys say we could do this together, but I was left all alone, and you're not my friends. And then they tried to calm him down, and if you can only see it in one frame because towards the end of them calming Stan down, like Billy sees Georgie and runs after him. But if you pay attention in one frame, you see Ben hugging Stan, like being like, "It's okay, buddy. I'm here. I got you." Ben is the heart of the group, and he's a fond second. I just thought Eddie was more entertaining to watch as far as like acting goes.
Fair enough. So what do you think?
Ritchie is my favorite.
Yeah.
For the new one?
Yeah, old one I don't really have, I guess, because I haven't seen it in a while.
Fair enough.
But yeah, Ritchie is my favorite.
For the dick jokes or what?
Dick jokes. Always the dick jokes. But always just his humor in general, and the fact that, his fear, he takes on his fear. And I mean, all the other kids take on their fear too. But
well, he definitely stands up to it first.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. I love this.
Kid's got balls.
Are you going to mention his killer line?
At the very end, he grabs that bat and he's like, now I'm going to have to kill this motherfucking clown or whatever. And then he goes, and as soon as he's winding up for that swing, and he says, "Welcome to the Losers Club, asshole," is just, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And, Ritchie, the dick jokes, but also just like the jokes of like, "Oh, you don't want a kiss from me?" to Eddie's mom when they left.
That's so classic. Awesome. I would not have
like, who should do it? From what I understand, the list is longer than my wang, and Stan's like, that's not saying much.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe you drew the short straw. This would be different if we were measuring dicks. It's like, shut up, Ritchie. Shut up, Ritchie.
I mean, he's the cool loser kid.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much.
I liked how, like, and I wanted to say that, like, each character had, like, I was trying to say that earlier. Each character in the new movie feels very different. Ritchie is loud and obnoxious. Stan acts more annoyed by their antics, and he's more quiet, but he's not afraid to burn you a little bit if he has to. Like, he burns Ritchie like once when he's like, "Just do what you normally do. Start talking." Stan had a little bit of character. He just wasn't focused on as much as some of the others. And Ben's a little nerdy, and
he likes Ben is nerdy on the block,
and he's a little shy, timid, but he's brave when he needs to be. And Bill's very hopeful for his brothers, still being alive and out there somewhere, but he's very nervous and stuttery, and he shows that he really does a great job taking charge as leader, and like taking the fight to it and rallying everybody, and showing that and being supportive, and being like he was. I don't know. It's kind of odd to describe Bill in the new movie because he was just like, I think he was just a lot of things mixed together. But I think they kind of had to make him that way. I don't know. And Mike didn't get a whole lot of focus, but Mike, of course, was he had his own like backstory. And I mean, he was pretty much. He just looked like a regular kind of like strong black kid to me. I can't really describe his character that much because he didn't get much character.
I feel like he had the coolest introductory scene to it.
He did.
Where he like has the scene at like the meat packing factory or whatever. But I think that one definitely caught me the most off guard. No, I'd say that's probably one of the most intense introductions to the monster that any of the kids got. So,
yeah, I would agree with that. And and Eddie is a little funny in his own way, and he's very freaked out by things, and he's always complaining about germs and stuff. And he's always going on about statistics. He's that kind of kid. He talks about statistics about half the movie. Like if you pay attention, like he's talking about, oh man, there's like an 85% rate of you getting AIDS in this way or something.
Yeah.
And then Beverly was very kind of cool in her own way. Very clever. Acted. She was very clever, but of course she had her demons that she kept bottled up. She wouldn't let anybody see them.
She was probably like one of the smartest in the group.
Oh yes,
like
sure.
her and Ben were probably the two smartest kids. In
Like
the group.
I like how whenever she's out and about, she puts on a brave face, a smile, like showing that she's very like upbeat and nice and kind. And then when she's home, like you can tell she's dealing with a whole other level of shit.
That's pretty accurate to how a lot of people act when they are in that situation.
Oh yeah. Each character is very different. Even if it's hard to describe Mike, because Mike just doesn't get that much more character development than everyone else. And but I mean, it's not that you can't describe him. I just having trouble finding the words.
He was a bit of a latecomer to the group.
He was. So. He is the last one in the book, in the miniseries, also coming to the group. So, how would you describe Mike Cristobal? I'm having trouble describing him.
Mike. I don't know. I'd say like an outsider, maybe.
Yeah.
But like you said, we don't really get much characterization from him.
No, he was for a little bit. He's pretty much almost like an extra gun, but he is more than that. He's very like he's willing to put himself in harm's way. There was times during the fight with it, he'd be like, guys, stand back, and he would like try to get in its path, and it would just bash him away. But he'd always get back up, showing that he was tough and strong.
Yeah.
See, I'd say the thing about him is it seems to me like like throughout the movie, he learns to fight for his place in the world. Yeah. That's what I would say. Because it starts at the beginning where he's kind of floundering when it comes to like killing the sheep or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've been in that situation, not with that gun thing before, but with like an actual gun, because we had sheep growing up.
Oh, really?
And then that's a pretty hardcore crap when you're a little kid, and it's like, you know, if you're like, offered your turn to like kill a sheep, man, that's some hardcore crap, and that's no fun. Because what they don't show in that movie is like if a sheep thinks it's going to die, it cries. No, man, that's some hardcore crap to deal with when you're a little kid.
Oh my god.
But you know, and then later it shows them, they bring the sheep in, just kill shot. You know, he doesn't give a crap at that point. And then after that, you see him. Basically after that, he like goes into like attacking roles, you know, because basically you see him, and then there's the scene where so you see him first, and then the bullies like almost run him over with the scene at the slaughterhouse or whatever.
Yeah, the bullies pick on him, they target him.
And then after that, the next time you see him is whenever they're all talking about how they've seen the clown.
Yeah. And
then they see his bike and they go and help him, and he fights or whatever. You know, like he joins in their fight against the bullies, and he chucks rocks at him, like kind of kicks the crap out of the bullies. And then after that, the next time you see him by himself, he just takes out the sheep. And then after that, like every time you see him, he's basically fighting.
He's a little stronger.
Yeah, and then he ends up killing the one bully.
Yeah,
which is,
and he actually
that's a hardcore
Bill
scene.
trying to kill him, and then he fights back, and he actually kills him.
Yeah, just like chucks him down the well of never-ending falls. Like that was crazy.
So basically, people are actually theorizing that maybe that bully's still alive because we fell a ways, and it is hard to believe that he could survive that. But again, we did not see him die, so who the hell knows? I think he's down for the count.
I would think he'd be dead.
Yeah.
Just because, like, even if he didn't like die from the impact, he'd have like broken arms and legs, and he's not gonna get out.
For sure,
he's never gonna get out.
Yeah.
If he had like a broken leg, he couldn't just like walk out of the.
Here's why I say he could possibly not be dead, because his character is in the later half of the book, and then when they're adults in the miniseries too.
Okay.
So, but it does look like he was down for the count after that fall. So, and this is an adaptation, and they've changed some things, and they could change that too. So.
Yeah, they might.
So, but we never asked who was your favorite kid?
See, that one's kind of tough for me. Definitely one of my favorites was Georgie. I loved Georgie in the movie. He didn't have many scenes, but he was like endearing and he was adorable.
That was kind of the whole point, was to make him adorable so that it would like suck that much more when his character got killed.
See, he reminds me a lot of me as a kid.
Really?
Yeah. Because, well, for one, like the scene where he like goes in the basement and he's freaked out by everything he sees or whatever, that was totally me as a kid. For sure. Like, I would have seen those, like, 2 glowing things in the dark, and I totally would have, like, found a flashlight to see what it was, because it would have freaked me out. You know? Because the cellar of your house, by all accounts, is probably one of the safest places on Earth, but when you're a little kid, it's so dang terrifying.
Yeah.
Right?
Would you have spoken to Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise for as long as he did in the sewers?
Honestly, yeah.
Really?
As a kid, I would have.
You would have spoken to him for that long?
See, this kid reminds me because when I was a kid, I talked to anybody. Like, I was the kind of kid who, like, if someone did pull into our front yard, I would probably go and talk to them. Like, even if they didn't offer me a puppy, you know, I'd just, like, go and talk to them. Like, if they were scary and threatening, I would have stayed away. But for the most part, like, as a kid, you know, we'd be walking down the street or we'd be in the supermarket, you know, with my parents. I'd just walk up to random people and start conversations with them. So Billy reminds me a lot of me. Like, the childish kind of games that he plays where, you know, he, like, chases the boat or whatever, that's totally something I would have done as a kid. So he reminds me a lot of myself as a kid. I don't think I was ever quite that adorable. I was probably more annoying than Billy was. But still, that's the kind of... I don't know. He reminds me a lot, of myself. And I think that actor killed it, considering how young he was.
Good lord, that kid was... Well, you could pinch his cheek off. He was so adorable. Like, man, he was just so... he was a cute, like, 6-year-old kid, or however young he was.
And that scene...
him and Billy, their scene at the beginning of the movie, like, he's...
it's, like, heartwarming.
It's heartwarming. Like, when they hug, and you know it's their last hug goodbye, especially when you're on your second viewing, you're just like, oh!
I know, that scene was a lot harder to watch the second time.
My fourth time watching the movie tonight, during that scene... where he's saying goodbye to Billy for what they don't know is the last time he's saying goodbye to him. I was like, no, don't kill Georgie! I was like, don't kill this kid, he's adorable.
You know what's interesting is there's kind of like some imagery that I was thinking about the second time I watched it.
Yeah.
Whenever Georgie steps out into the rain, there's the scene where basically Georgie looks up and he sees his brother through the glass and he just waves at him. They both wave, and then they part ways. It's kind of an interesting imagery, because whenever, after that point in the movie, Billy never sees his brother again, except as, like, a reflection of what he used to be. And so, like, seeing him through the glass and, like, waving goodbye, I don't know, it feels like some sort of, like, imagery. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but it seems like the sort of imagery, like, the only time he'll ever see his brother again is, like, through an image, you know? Because he never gets to see his little brother again, which is super depressing.
It is.
But yeah, Georgie's definitely one of my favorites.
What about the Losers Club?
That one's kind of tough. Probably either Eddie or Ben are my 2 favorites. Eddie, because like you said, he was funny, and he was such a dork the whole time, being like terrified of all these germs and stuff. Yeah, that cracks me up.
You're stepping on our gray water. What's gray water? It's basically piss and shit. I'm just telling you.
Exactly.
Oh man, but yeah, I totally.
He was a great actor too.
Oh yes, like this kid's got a future ahead of him. He's got that face.
Do you remember we watched an interview with the guy who played the new Pennywise?
Yeah,
he said that they had that scene, and it was like it was basically the first scene he ever filmed with Eddie was the one where Eddie has like the broken arm because he fell through and stuff. That was apparently the first one they did.
Yeah,
and so the guy was like all worried about like how the kid would react, because the kid's like 10. In real life, the kid's like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And so he was worried it would like be super intense because he's doing all of his thing.
Yeah, he was like, oh my god, I'm traumatizing this kid. Yeah. He saw his reaction.
And he's like crying, like actually crying and sobbing and freaking out.
This fucking kid.
And now he's like, I'm going to ruin him. And then after the scene, the kid was just like, man, I love this. This is great. Nice job, man. Yeah. And they just moved on. And it's like, well...
Yeah, okay. That's the one thing Bill Skarsgård said that surprised him about working all with the kids in the movie.
The kids were pros.
The kids were very professional on set, and they weren't like, and yeah, they're kids, so they would goof off in between takes. But when it came down to like get the job done, they weren't goofing off as like nearly as much. They got down to business, and he said, of course, like a lot of the scenes he had to shoot with them were uncomfortable because like he's trying to harm them, especially Beverly. He says one of his last one-on-one scenes with her, he said it was. They both admitted that it was kind of awkward because like he has to like, especially in between. It's the scene where he's holding her and he's practically has his hands around her neck and he's just choking her. But he's not like actually choking her. He just has his hands around her neck, and it's weird because in between takes, like she's propped up and they're just ready to go. So he saw his hand right. He's just like, "How you doing?" He's like, "Hey, oh man, can't wait for the next break. Can't wait to go get some water or something."
Yeah.
And man, okay, so I think makeup wise and prosthetics wise, whatever they had to do to make Bill Skarsgård look the way he did with his wardrobe. That's where Pennywise. I think it was much tougher than whatever Tim Curry had to do.
Yeah, because Tim Curry was mostly just paint, but obviously they like had some sort of like added material to the new guy's head. Yeah, because I mean his forehead must have been like an extra 6 inches.
I think there was a little bit of that goes towards Tim Curry too, because his head is kind of.
Is it oblong?
It's a little bit, but not. I don't think it's nearly as big as Bill Skarsgård.
Because he really is like totally misshapen in this new one. Because
like
little bit,
the top of his head,
forehead. Yeah, his forehead's like 3 times the size it should be.
So I think they had something, and it was a little.
They probably added like fat tissue or something on top of his head to make it larger.
Yeah, and I'm sure like there were times where he probably had to go lay down during takes because of the. It's probably hard to hold up.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like the first week of football practice or whatever. You know, your neck. I don't know if you guys ever played football, but your neck is super sore because it's not used to carrying around a helmet for like 4 hours a day.
Okay,
Did that happen to you, or is that just
wrap up this topic because we are already approaching 50 minutes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're already approaching 50 minutes. So to wrap up this topic, I would say that It 2017 is an incredible movie that it's a coming of age horror film that's going to redefine the genre, and I hope more horror films take a page from this movie and try to incorporate more humor in their movie.
And also interesting characters.
Interesting character development, and not just like make a movie where everyone gets to play the guessing game on
jump scares,
who's going to die in what order, and
Slayer
all that
films,
BS, you know. And I think the miniseries, as entertaining as it is, especially with Tim Curry, it's really cheesy and it doesn't really hold up very well today, and in fact is childish compared to this new darker version.
So, what would you say to wrap up for this topic?
Pretty much echo the same sentiments, but I would caution by saying that a horror movie should take note of this. I mean, you should definitely look and analyze what worked, but no, we don't need a horror movie to try to be the next It.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, take a page, like, don't do exactly what this movie did, but like,
and not every
something
movie.
A little
There's
similar.
Definitely a place for different kinds of
like,
movies.
Do like with as far as character development goes and character arcs and stuff. Like, actually try to do what this movie did with its characters, and like.
Yeah, but knowing Hollywood, they're going to
take it too far.
Yeah, they're going to take it too far. They're going to add too much humor. They're going to try to do the same old jump scares that kind of echoed what it did with its jump scares. But it's just like, look, focus on your characters. Do the cliche stuff, but make it different.
Well. And
make it different. Do it well.
Yeah,
and you'll have good horror movies. We've been getting a lot of good horror movies the last few years with Don't Breathe and Get Out and Lights Out and the Conjuring franchise. So
yeah, and we need more horror movies that are of that standard, and but we're always gonna have those shitty horror movies that like the Bye Bye Man and
fuck that movie.
Yeah, that movie sucks from what I understand. I haven't seen it because I just knew I wasn't going to waste my time. But Annabelle Creation, I was not very impressed with that movie. The movie solely relies on jump scares and barely has any horrific imagery. It was really lame. And there's really one shot sequence that was unnecessary.
I heard it did better than the first one though.
Really?
Yep.
Like financial wise.
Both. Financial critical wise.
Really? I like the first one better. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me.
I haven't seen it, so I can't say.
I really thought, I walked away going, nah, I don't really care for it. I saw it before it came out, and it just like, after I saw it, I was like, fuck Annabelle Creation, you can go die. It's where it's at. But yeah, I get what you're saying, and yeah, I kind of agree. Like, we don't try to copy it exactly, but take some of the elements they use to make the movie great and try to apply that to your own horror movie. But I think a horror movie should at least have some hope. More horror movies should be don't just let the killer win. Like with Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning, that pissed me off when he kills everyone in the end. And it's come on.
Well, see, that was a unique thing when that came out, because movies almost always had a happy resolution, because that's what audiences expected.
I'm not talking about the old one. I'm talking about the remake they made.
Oh, okay. See, I'm talking about when that first started happening, because that's been a genre it's a movie trope that's been overused lately, is the bad guy wins or whatever, because back in the day that was edgy and a new idea.
Yeah.
But now it's just not as interesting unless the characters are really good or whatever.
Because they've been doing that since the 80s, showing the bad guy is still alive and he's still
exactly.
Ever since even Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, they had that teaser ending.
It just doesn't feel as clever anymore.
No, it doesn't. It was clever then, but now, it's gotten old and no one cares about it anymore. And it's why not have a happy ending for a horror movie more often? Mm-hmm. And this movie does it so well. And The Conjuring, those movies have happy endings. That's great. Keep doing that, and I think it's something that will catch on more. So,
yeah.
So what were your
closing? I guess what I would say, just comparing the two movies from what I've understood, because I haven't seen the full first one, so I can't really, I can't make a full fair judgment. But I would say, the old one probably doesn't get as much credit as it deserves, considering the time when it was made, because, for one, child actors were way more difficult to come by in the early 90s. They just, it wasn't as much of a thing. Where, because nowadays there's, actual significant acting roles for children, but that was super uncommon back in the early 90s. If you, go back and see films, there's just, not nearly as many. So, I'd say, with what they had available and the fact that effects were much more difficult, I'd say the old one, it's obviously it doesn't hold up as well compared to the new stuff we have, but I'd say for its time it wasn't a bad movie. But I'd say the new one does outdo it, if only because its budget is way better. But it definitely is just from the stuff that I've seen, is a more intense and exciting movie. So
yeah, for sure. All right. We're done with topic number 1. On to topic number 2. Expectations for the sequel. Will it be better? Can it be?
Of course it can. But this is a thing in the movie business. Sequels are hard to do.
They're notoriously difficult.
They are. I think it is always possible for the sequel to surpass the original. That has been the case. That has been the case many times before, but also many times the sequel has failed. I do not believe the latter will be the case for this movie. I believe the sequel will be better or just as good, and even if it's better, just as good, or not as good, either way, it'll be a great movie. I believe that, and I will be impressed if it is better than the first one, because this first one I felt like had the advantage because they were kids, and kids fighting against something like this is very intense.
It hits you emotionally. For sure.
It's very intense. It's very interesting to see how kids would fight against something like this, and it's very powerful when they become triumphant over it. So now I believe that the adults can do a great job, whatever adult actor they're casting the part.
Since they'll have a huge budget for the second movie after the success of the first one. Because it's the highest grossing horror film ever.
Bigger budget does not always mean better movie, though.
I mostly mean for the actors, because that's something they didn't have for the TV series. Is they didn't have a big budget to hire famous male roles or whatever.
I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure I know of a movie series where the first one was good, and the second one got a bigger budget, but it got a little too carried away, and
And Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean, yeah. Like that.
I mean, it's horrid. Like, the first and second one. First one, everyone loves the first one. The second one, most people liked it, but it just wasn't quite as good. And then the third one, everyone's like, what the heck did I watch? And it just got worse from there. And I've heard the fifth one's not any better.
It got a little better from there, then it got a whole lot worse. Yeah. In my opinion.
Yeah, so I mean...
But that's a whole other story. That's
it's one of those ideas. Bigger budget doesn't mean better. I'm just saying they might have a better opportunity to hire, like, high-profile actors for the movie.
Especially, it's also a problem when you try to take a big budget and you try to cram a whole lot into your movie.
That's true.
Our World's End's runtime is ridiculous.
What was it, like
almost
3.5 hours?
It's almost 3 hours long.
Yeah.
It's 2 hours and 50 minutes long, and it really doesn't need to even be that long. Like 30 minutes of the movie can just be automatically cut out and not even be there. But at the same time, like, do we think we would want a longer runtime for the sequel? Because this movie was only 2 hours and 15 minutes long.
I mean, I don't know.
Do we feel like it could? Do we feel like 2 hours and 15 minutes would be more than enough for the second one?
I would think
so. Do we feel like 2.5 hours would be good, or what?
I would think it would be enough, because, I mean, the original was, what, like 2 hour-and-a-half segments, right?
Like the miniseries?
Yeah, wasn't it?
It came out on TV, so from what I understand, it came out in like a 2-night segment where each one was like an hour and a half.
Right.
You have the kid portion the first half, and then you have the adults in the second night. And all in all, put it all together, it's like a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, so I mean, they've already gone over halfway, so I mean, they shouldn't need too much more. So I would think that like either the same, it'll probably end up being the same runtime, right around, would be my guess.
I think
it'd be plenty, right?
I think it'll definitely be at least around 2 hours to give it enough time to flesh out the story, just with this one. And I think as long as it's like, I think I would want it to be over 2 hours, not close to 3 at all, but like if it's at least 2 hours 50 minutes or 2 hours 30 minutes, either way I'm happy. From what I understand, though, I've heard that in this sequel there will be flashbacks to their time as kids in it, and for some reason I've heard that's what's going to happen. That it's been confirmed that the It sequel will focus on them returning to Derry to face It again as adults, and it will involve flashbacks with It as kids.
So do you think the flashbacks will have something to do with Meg's vision? Or
I don't know exactly.
Whatever her name is.
I think...
Shoot, what's her name?
Beverly?
Beverly. I said Meg. But for
I think
Beverly's vision thing.
Well, for one, it's going to be great to see the young cast again in the sequel, in those flashbacks. And I think I'm pretty sure I already know one of the scenes they're going to do in one of the flashbacks because I've seen the miniseries, so I can I'm pretty sure I know what one of the flashbacks is going to be. But I think it's an adaptation, so anything could change. And I think I see a possibility what they could do for the climax of the movie. I think it could be really fucking awesome if they do it well.
Well,
what were you?
Budget is just it just depends on the story. You can use that budget for getting higher paid actors, or you can get that budget for better sets, or CGI if you need CGI.
Effects,
So it just depends on the story, and it also depends on the runtime. If they feel like they need a 2.5 hour story runtime, then they better justify it. It doesn't need to be like needless Transformers.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be needless stuff. Like if they say, hey, just so you know, our movie will only be an hour and 50 minutes long. That's all we had story for. And it's like, okay, yeah.
It's like, the Dark Tower, another Stephen King movie. Dark Tower was only an hour and a half long, and that movie actually needed to be a lot longer for what I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I understand. Like, it took the concept of all the books and threw it in the
they squished all 3 books into an hour and a half movie or something like that.
Something like that. I feel 8 books or 10 or something.
I think there's 8.
Oh, just kidding.
That's worse. Like, it's
I mean,
bad.
that sounds like Stephen King.
Good
Stephen King
like,
loves to
I don't know
write.
who was in charge of putting that movie into production, or the director, the producer, whose idea was to make it. Like, I don't know how that movie turned out the way it was, but from what I understand, like, that's just sad.
I saw the previews and it didn't look interesting.
No, like the first time I saw a preview for it, I was a little interested, but then as time went on and I saw previews again and again, I was like, I'm not going to go see this piece of shit because I already can tell what it is. I can see the same old fucking formula. Like, loser kid in real world whose life sucks finds a portal to a fantasy world of some kind, meets a badass warrior who's kind of like on a off-beaten path, has lost his way, needs to redeem himself by facing a bad guy. It's fucking the same bullshit we see in Narnia, fucking Never-Ending Story, you know, and you know, the list goes on. There's all kinds of movies out there that do the same formula, and like I don't know if that's what the books do, but like this movie did that, and it's just, it sucks. And I've already heard things about it from like Brandon on Facebook. Like Brandon has made several posts about this movie whenever he saw it on Facebook, and I told him, all right, from your posts, I know all I need to know, and I don't need to fucking watch this movie ever. But yeah, no, and I think it's funny how we got 2 Stephen King adaptations in 1 year. One really fucking sucks, and one's really, really good. And I think what I was trying to say before was that I think the sequel will benefit from the flashbacks as kids, because I mean everyone loved those kids, and but I really think that the adults will be good. I have faith they will be, but that's also like something everyone's gonna be dreading, because like people did not like the adult half of the miniseries, and I think some people are gonna be worried that that's still gonna be the case for this sequel. It's just not going to be as good, and I really do think that the first one has the advantage of being better, because you know the kids were just great, and like we said before, like it's just more impactful with the kids and whatnot. But I still think, depending on where they go with the story, how they choose to proceed, the sequel still has potential to be better.
Yeah. One thing that'll be interesting is this movie had a huge focus on like the individual fears of each kid.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if it like has some sort of reference to that in the second movie. If it like, you know, if it shows like how their fears have changed, or if they've like just grown out of them completely and things like that.
Well, the movie, they will definitely focus on childhood trauma and how it can come back. And you have to deal with it again as an adult, because that's what the miniseries does. So they will definitely have that element, except hopefully it will be done much better, because the miniseries, it has that element, but it's not done very well. Some people have said that the miniseries has been described to be an awfully. It's described to be an awful soap opera. It's like that's what it feels like, especially since it was TV.
Right.
The actors in it, like, I like the miniseries for the most part, but I see people are saying when they say it's like a bad soap opera, like especially with the adult portion. I don't think that'll be the case for the movie, for the sequel, Chapter 2. I'm really looking forward to who they're going to cast. I think once everyone finds out who's going to be casting the roles, like everyone will be put at ease, because I'm pretty sure they're going to choose some stellar actors. Everyone's already saying Chris Pratt needs to be Ben, and Amy Adams needs to be Beverly, and if not Amy, Jessica Chastain then, and I think Robert Downey Jr. should be in there somewhere. But here's the thing, though: if you're going to choose someone like Chris Pratt, and Chris Pratt needs to be believably be 40. And the thing is, dude's still a little young, or still looks a little young.
I feel like he is too young.
Yeah, I don't know how old he is exactly. Like, do you know how old he is?
Probably
late
early
30s.
Late 30s. Okay, so that's close enough. But he still looks young. People probably would not buy him as a 40-year-old.
Yeah.
He's at that age where people were like, he could look as young as 28 or as old as 35. That's where he's at right now in his life.
Yeah.
People would not, and these characters are going to be 40 in the sequel. That's the age they're going to be at, and because they're all like 13 in this movie, and I think Robert Downey Jr. should be one of the characters. I personally think he should be Ritchie. Now I can see I think they'll probably cast someone else, but I think he could play Ritchie just fine because he is also pretty. He's also a jokester and is can be loud and obnoxious if he wants to be.
I mean, well, does in the books or in the original or whatever, does Ritchie retain his loudmouth goofiness or whatever?
I haven't actually read the book. I've only read a Wikipedia summary of it, which just told me the plot.
Yeah.
In the miniseries, he's still he's still pretty loud and he still makes jokes.
Okay.
But yeah, pretty much. He'll still generally be the same. He'll just be a grown up version of it. His jokes won't be as crude or whatever.
Penis related
maybe, but I mean, we're gonna see some growth and maturity with him, but he'll still probably want to crack a joke, and if he does it, he'll probably do it more subtly, not as loudly. But I'm not sure. It depends on what they want to do with it. I can see Robert Downey Jr. doing it really well, but they could also choose someone else, and I still trust that whoever they choose will do a great job. I just can't think of who else could play him at the moment.
Yeah, Chris Pratt is 38 right now. Chris Pratt is 38 right now.
38?
He's looking good for 38.
He is. I swear, man, I think all the actors get a secret fountain of youth juice.
They do.
Just give it to them.
They do.
It's... And but only for some of them, they're okay, you've been around for a while, you're gonna get cut off. And for some reason, Tom Cruise has not been cut off yet.
That's Scientology.
I think Charlie Sheen got cut off a couple of years ago in his age when he started the show. Because I know on 2.5 Men forever he just didn't age for 20 years, and then in the last few years he's
he became old.
It's really started to show, and he still tries to hide it, but it's dude, you're old. You got to deal with it. Moving on to the third. All right. So, could or should it be the start of a Stephen King cinematic universe?
Heck no.
Heck no. Okay. Well, all right. Let's just go around and say answers. Nick says no. Cristobal.
No. It doesn't have to be.
Okay.
We already have too many cinematic universes, and I mean, it'd be cool to say just how Stephen King is his books, he's not directly saying Pennywise is also in the background of the gunslinger or Salem's Lot or something like that.
He actually is, though, because Pennywise lives in the Dark Tower or whatever. That's where he's from.
This is actually weird. Okay, we're gonna go into that in a second. Yeah. I'm gonna get my answer first. Oh God. My answer is a little complicated. Okay, so I think
just make references. I'm fine with it.
I think officially, my answer would be no. Only because recent attempts by studios to make their own universes, copying the MCU and what the DCEU is trying to do, have failed. Universal Studios' attempt on making their own dark universe with Tom Cruise as the Mummy failed hard. And
I wouldn't say it failed hard.
Because
you still have movies
it's
coming out. I think once we know how the Invisible Man, I think that's the next one or whatever.
Are you saying
I think I know once we see that movie, whether it fails or not.
So you're saying
so the Mummy can still be canon to this dark universe they're trying to do?
No, it is canon for sure.
Oh, okay. Well, regardless, this is the thing. This is my problem with that. I don't think that even if Invisible Man is good, they should go ahead and make Tom Cruise as the Mummy canon anyway, because you're making that your foundation of your universe, and you know what they say about something built on a shitty foundation. That's just the way I see it. But I haven't even seen the movie. I just hear it's bad. It looked bad. You said it was bad.
Yeah,
and
it's not horrible, but it's bad.
Yeah, and then they try to do a universe with 2016's Ghostbusters, the female cast. That was going to be since it was a remake, they were the male cast, the male team from the 80s doesn't exist in their universe. They're the first Ghostbusters. This was supposed to become its own big franchise universe of Ghostbusters, and it's supposed to maybe tie into another franchise or something. And this actually did fail because the movie just did not make nearly enough money back as it needed to. And at one point, Paul Feig did give out a number of what it needed to make back, and they didn't even come close. Mm-hmm. And that's because the dumbasses put $100 million in advertising, and that was a bad fucking idea. Anyways, that's really not gonna happen, and because it didn't make enough money back, they don't see any profit in moving forward with it. And now, so that woman who collaborated with Paul Feig to make the movie, she hasn't left Sony, but she's like moved job positions, and Paul Feig has. Okay, this is just what I've heard. From what I understand, like Paul Feig at one point like went and cried in a corner about his movie not turning out the way he wished it had turned out. I don't know. I know he cried on set because the dancing Chris Hemsworth scene did not work in this movie, so he had to put it in the end credits scene. That's just what I read from. I don't know if it's actually true. This is what I read. It could be a Paul Feig hater, and I try hard not to be a Paul Feig hater because I do like a couple of his previous movies. I just really fucking hated Ghostbusters in 2016. But anyways, that failed. Dark Universe is looking like it might fail, but it might pull through. Who knows? Yeah. I think that they shouldn't do it unless they're sure they can make it really good. And there's but the thing is, I don't think there's any way they can, because King's universe, his other books are so freaking weird. That is a huge risk to take. And it's not like
there's a lot of baggage that comes.
There is, and they honestly would need somebody in order to do this. They would need somebody to thoroughly read all the books, understand them, and understand how they can be adapted well into movies and how they can all connect together. You can't just take something like Dark Tower and turn it into an hour and a half blockbuster and hope it's going to make a lot of money. That's not a great idea, especially since it's based on 8 books.
Is that from the same studio that made it?
No, I don't think so.
See, that's something. The first issue is
Warner Brothers did it. Who did Dark Tower? Does anyone know? Chris, do you know?
Meaning what?
Studio that funded Dark Tower, distributed it, helped produce it, put in production, whatever.
I want to say Universal.
So see, I mean, that's the first issue, is that you've got, like, because there's no rights to Stephen King's stuff.
There's not. I think people just grab them up, and they're just like, let's make a movie out of this.
Exactly. So there's no organization for it. Because, like, Marvel is owned by Disney, so, it's always, like, they already have it set up that way. So
yeah, I think King's universe is just way too weird, and you couldn't successfully. I don't think it can successfully be made into a cinematic universe like the MCU has done with the Marvel comics, and the DCEU is trying to do with the DC comics. Now, here's the thing: when you said that it lived in the Dark Tower, I have heard something about that, but here's all I know about it when it comes to the novel. It is like something called the Deadlights.
Yeah,
we've talked about it. Yeah, we all know like it is like the true form is like several orange balls called the Deadlights, and but that form of it resides in something called the Macroverse, which is another dimension.
Yeah, I mean, the Dark Tower is another dimension.
Yeah, I don't know if the Dark Tower resides in the Macroverse.
I don't know.
Because I don't know.
From what I understand, the Dark Tower created it.
Yeah, I heard that.
Because, like, it's super weird, and I don't really get it. But basically, it sounds, from what I understand, is Stephen King wrote the Dark Tower books to, like, explain some of the crap in his universe, because it's all really convoluted and confusing. I don't think the Dark Tower actually helped, but I think it, like, basically gave something to reference.
Yeah, and I think, okay, for what I don't know if this is actually accurate to the books, but, like, the Dark Tower movie kind of, like, gave this implication that if the Dark Tower falls, our world goes to hell. Like, what the hell is that all about? Like, I don't know. Like, how can something that supposedly spawned all this evil onto our world, if it is destroyed, our world is destroyed? What the fuck is that all about?
It's very Stephen King-ish,
I guess. It's because of all this convoluted stuff. I don't think it can ever be made successfully. Now that I think more about it, I don't think it could ever be made successfully into a cinematic universe. So my official answer is no. I don't think they should. Will they do it? Probably, if they think they can and they see profit in it. As sad as that would be as sad as that would be, and as horrible as it could possibly be.
Right. So what do you think?
Well, yeah, I kind of already gave.
Well, I mean, he said no, but like, what's your main?
Like, what do you think about? What do you think about what we're talking about?
Well, I just don't think we need any more cinematic universes.
Yeah. I really
MCU is obviously great. They technically kind of started it, but DCU is getting back on track.
It is
with their cinematic universe, so I'm excited for that.
Everything's kind of like
right. But I think that the only people that should have cinematic universes are kind of like movies and material franchises that have a big story already attached to them. Which I know Stephen King has a lot of story, but it works better in books and literary form than it does a movie to me.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think in Chapter 2, I think I would prefer it if both movies just were not connected to any other kind of universe thing they tried to do. I think they're better as standalones. As exciting as the possibilities may be to some people, I really think they should just leave it as two standalone movies that go well that are like just a 2-part story. So,
I mean, you can make references to other movies. Like you can make a reference to Carrie, but Carrie doesn't need to be in the It movie.
That's actually very true. You can still make references and stuff, but yeah, I can see that. And and if you keep making other Stephen King adaptations, by all means, if they're done well, you can make references to the other movies that are made. Like someone can make a reference to It, but like don't actually connect the stories to the point to where like they have to cross over.
They're like dependent.
Yeah, on each other. Like if they make another, they have remade Carrie not too long ago, and apparently like people didn't like it as much.
Yeah.
Man,
it was Sony Pictures that distributed Dark Tower. Sony
sucks.
So. Oh, you're just gonna skip me? Yeah, is that the?
Oh, my bad, bro. My bad. All right. I thought you gave your answer. Go for it.
All right. So my answer is a firm heck no.
Yeah.
Because, just like you said, there are way too many. Like you said, they would be super convoluted to try and actually make that like a good, to set it up well. Also, for me, I'd say no, because I hate that whole concept in the first place. Because, like, there's so much baggage attached to the movies that exist in the universe. Like, for me, if a Marvel movie comes out, I almost certainly can't go see it. Because it's all attached to everything else, and I'm not caught up because I don't have that kind of time. I mean, so, like, as far as Marvel movies go, I haven't seen any of the Iron Mans. I've seen, like, one Thor movie, all this stuff that, like, I should see if I want the other movies to make sense. I haven't seen the second Captain America movie. I haven't seen Civil War. And so, like, as new movies come out, I, like, won't be able to get the full enjoyment out of it. Because, like, I saw Spider-Man Homecoming, and the first 30 minutes of the movie made no sense to me. Because I haven't seen Civil War, and apparently that's, like, his introduction.
Yeah.
So, like, that whole 30 minutes was just totally wasted on me, and it was kind of annoying, because I was, like, the kid who, like, was the last to hear about it sort of thing, it sucked. So, I hate that, because basically it, like, forces people to either watch all the movies or none of the movies. Now, it's, like, as far as Stephen King stuff goes, I don't think it's going to happen because it'd be too difficult, and because there's no, like, set system where other studios can't make movies that are from the same thing. And plus, it's already been around so long, because, I mean, you have movies like The Shining and stuff, which are, I mean, the movie's not that old, but, like, it's from 1990, I think. No, 1980, I believe. Yeah, it's from 1980. So, it's The Shining.
That's right.
It's from 1980. And so, it's almost 40 years old at this point. And no one's going to try and remake The Shining. Because that's treading in waters that are a bit over your head, I would think.
Well, they remade it into a miniseries, but not a movie.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, right. It was Room 237, right?
I don't know.
Because that was on Netflix.
That was like a documentary on the movie or something.
Oh, was it a documentary on the movie?
I think on the movie, but I've heard there is a recent miniseries.
Well, they're braver than I would be. Anyways,
that's a little different. That's actually interesting. Like, yeah, the old It miniseries. You have a new It movie. You have the old Shining movie. You have a new Shining miniseries.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
So, anyways, yeah, I hate the whole thing because like DC movies, I can't even like get into that at this point. I'm way far behind because I've seen like one Superman movie and that's about it. So I'm pretty much screwed when it comes to that. As far as the Dark Universe goes, I don't really care.
You don't have nearly as well. When it comes to DC, like you don't have nearly as many movies to catch up.
I don't have nearly as many to catch up with, but you know it's. Yeah. Still,
I can get you caught up before November before Justice League comes out.
I don't know if I'm that dedicated,
Okay.
but the idea is like I miss the days when all the movies coming out you could just go see without worrying about if you were caught up or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Heck, Disney's practically trying to make their own universe thing too now because they always reference each other's, which I think is dumb.
I think universe is it can only work with certain characters and certain. I think comic books are the only things that can do it right now until they can find something else.
And see,
that works because I think everyone's trying to do it with make it work with everything. That's just not a good idea.
Exactly, it's being overdone. It's like the next trope that everyone's trying to overuse. Because Hollywood's not actually creative at all. But like I don't know. As far as like a money making scheme, it works way better than I wish it did. Because I mean, Marvel's getting rich because like basically every movie that comes out, like the people who are committed fans feel like they have to go and see it. So it's kind of making them bank as far as that goes because people feel like they have no choice but to go see the movie, so they're going to go see it pretty much no matter what. Whether it's even if they make kind of like a stinker in the group, which I think has happened once or twice with Marvel, where there were movies where people were just like, it's not as good.
Yeah, that was the case for like Thor 2 and
I think Ant-Man and stuff like that.
Ant-Man, I guess, was a mixed bag.
I thought it was kind of boring.
Some people really liked it. Some people were like, whatever. It wasn't. I think some people were expecting it to be a bigger movie, but it really wasn't intended to be like that.
Yeah, I'd given it.
So,
stuff like that.
It's good. It's good for what it is, but like I understand when people don't think much of it.
And now for Marvel, you have to even watch like 7 TV shows to feel caught up. So it's just like really
not for the movies, but like the TV shows.
Not for the movies,
but
yeah,
it's actually kind of interesting because the movies affect the TV show. That was proven with how Winter Soldier affected the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when they had to drastically change the storyline to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. going into like what was that, their own Ghost Protocol mode. Yeah, they had to go into like ghost mode or whatever, and they had to like work in the shadows. And I haven't even finished season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I just have no drive to get back into it because like I'm trying to focus on the Netflix series of Marvel right now, and which is much better. And and like all this other stuff they're doing, like we got Inhumans, which is it's apparently going to be a mixed bag. Apparently, some people there's already some rumors that like the quality of it sucks, the story is not that great, and it's kind of like and they don't even understand why it's put in the IMAX because there's only a few shots that were. They don't understand why it's premiering in IMAX because there's only a few shots made that actually work in IMAX, and other shots just don't. And that's just what I've heard. I haven't seen it, and I don't even think it's been released yet. But I don't know.
That's it. Anyways, I say no, and please don't.
No, and please don't. Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, any closing remarks to the topic in general?
Just that, just a kind of behind the scenes fact that I found out was that Stephen King was given a early cut of the movie, and the scene that he said scared them the most was the lady in the painting scene with Stan.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And the director actually came up with that concept of a lady in the painting coming to life because he said that when he was younger, his parents had a somewhat similar painting where there's this painting of a guy or a woman that freaked him out.
Yeah.
And so he used that to add to Stan's fear and brought a childhood fear to the big screen, and that's what scared Stephen King the most. So.
That is interesting.
Yeah, anything, Nick, for a closing remark on the topic in general?
No, I'm pretty good. It was a good movie. I hope the sequel is just as good.
Yeah. Well, I this movie was incredible. It's one of the best horror movies I have ever witnessed, and it's gonna be one of my favorite movies ever. It's definitely one of the best movies that has come out this year, and I cannot wait to own it on Blu-ray. And it's a movie that I will probably watch a countless number of times throughout my life because it's just, despite how horrifying it is, the message of the movie and the character development and the story and the acting, it's all just amazing and well done. And I feel like this movie definitely needs to get an Oscar for some kind. I feel like it deserves it. But
best child actor, it has a lot of options.
Yeah.
So.
I'm excited. I really want to watch it again because it's just that movie. I think I've seen it enough times in theaters though, so I'm probably just gonna wait for it to come out on DVD. I can't wait to own it and watch it as many times as I want to, and I'm really glad I saw it in IMAX. Really made the experience all the more thrilling. And kudos to the director and the producer and Bill Skarsgård, like his Pennywise. No offense to Tim Curry, but I believe his Pennywise is superior with being more darker and edgier and being more mysterious and even in ways a little more fun. So, I take my hat off to Bill Skarsgård. Great job, man.
That's a cool name, Skarsgård.
Yeah, it is. He actually is the son of the science doctor guy in the Thor movies. Like that guy.
And his brother is Tarzan.
Yeah, that guy too. Yeah, that's true.
His brother's ripped.
Well, I look forward to the sequel. I hope it's great, and yeah, it's great. Check it out. It's an amazing movie. All right, well, that about wraps up our podcast. Please, this will go up on my Facebook page, Brooks's Movie Reviews, and please like and subscribe, comment, let me know what you think, and I will hear from y'all next time. I still haven't found a great way to close out the podcast.
You can subscribe on Facebook.
That's true. Yeah, no, but I can't find out a closing line like we do on
I was asking.
This is Nick, Brooks, and Cristobal signing off.
All right.
Something like that.
Later, everyone.